kind of the question that I'm then asking there myself is the idea of this struggle really that joyful? Does it like fulfill this need for having the big adventure? Does it live life to the fullest? Welcome back to the Freemilesmc, and we're today here in Bosnia, starting out next to this beautiful lake behind the trees, and my original plan was to get the bike washed now, but all the places only take coins and I don't have any coins left, and we don't have a washing place up until the capital. I earlier got going and had some breakfast, and after breakfast decided to order myself a banana split in a restaurant. And it was so nice. Like, I really enjoyed that. And it kind of made me think. About motorcycle travel in general. Because, I don't know, with making these videos and with people like myself making these videos and with the expectation that's often like put towards motorcycle travel, it's always like motorcycle travel being this alternative lifestyle that leads to like this maximum experience of life and basically this hedonistic approach to getting the fullest out of life. And I have to be honest, maybe it's not all that, and especially with how motorcycle travel then often in reality is, maybe that's a bit of a wrong expectation. And especially if you then look at people making these videos like myself, and the image of motorcycle travel being very turned towards adventure bikes, off-roading, and like how the big word of adventure really like stands in the way of that actually being the case. And with us currently being on the way to one of the historically most well-kept places, the highest village here in Bosnia, let's explore the idea of the fake hedonism of motorcycle travel. Let's go. When it comes to motorcycle travel, I feel really often joy has become synonymous with struggle, which kind of leads to this constant desire of people wanting to go off-road and into foreign countries. Of course, to a degree, off-roading is fun. Resisting a struggle and overcoming has its own definitely noticeable joy, as you're seeing here. But how much struggle is really necessary to be able to really enjoy the joy of touring a motorcycle? Like, is this really necessary? And why do we desire it? Is sometimes a question that I ask myself. Let's go. And I kind of feel like the idea of the enjoyment of this struggle has slowly turned into a lifestyle, in the sense of that's basically what you're being sold when you're buying an adventure bike. With the idea of this struggle, you have this associated lifestyle, and you can purchase your way into that lifestyle for around 15 to 30 grand for a big adventure bike. Because of course you need a big adventure bike to live this kind of alternative lifestyle. Wow, the landscape here is endless and incredibly beautiful. And kind of the question that I'm then asking there myself is the idea of this struggle really that joyful? Does it like fulfill this need for having the big adventure? Does it live life to the fullest? And I have to be honest, I'm doubting that. Because when you then go off-road, of course, it is fun to a degree, but there's the whole idea of adventure need to be dedicated to that. I kind of feel like it's a bit of forced adventure. Of course, on a big tour, you're going to encounter some off-road. For example, I didn't plan this here. I thought I'm going to ride over some asphalt and now have to work with this. I think the perspective of motorcycle touring and the joy out of it shouldn't be limited to off-road adventures, because there's so much stuff you can do. You can ride your chopper across the USA and just stay completely on road and can have just as much of an adventure. And I mean, of course this stuff is fun and you can have a very good time doing it, but is it really that deep? Every time I see like a social media post about like the way is the goal, or I today in the morning saw a post of a motorcycle traveler with the caption of "You live 2 lives and the second life begins when you realize you only have one." And it really plays into the whole dynamic of learning about yourself on a motorcycle trip. And I'm sometimes wondering, do you really experience those things that are greater than life? And then sometimes makes me wonder, what does this pseudo-philosophical stuff mean? Because I have to conclude for myself, I enjoy motorcycle travel, but I don't particularly feel enlightened through it. And I also don't see how you could, like, I recently was in a class reunion before going on this trip, and many people asked me, what did I learn about myself doing the stuff that I do? And I honestly had to conclude, like, not much. I was basically, I know who I am as a person, and I don't see how that can be more completed through motorcycle travel. Honestly, I have to admit, the off-road here is today quite intense, more intense than I expected. And we still have about half an hour to the village. What I basically want to get at with me talking about the whole off-road hype side of things, really look into yourself if that's what you want to do on your motorcycle trip. Is that what adventure means to you, and what having an enjoyable time means to you? Just because it looks really cool on video and you see many people doing it online doesn't have to be the thing for you, and that's also completely alright. I sometimes feel like the most funnest experiences can also really be just carving some corners on some asphalt, and even though you see all the influencers doing this online, maybe you feel more complete doing that. Wow, how gorgeous. Honestly, I'm really surprised how amazing the Interceptor is handling this. Like, this is probably the toughest stuff that I have encountered so far. Like, so many rocks, so steep uphill, and the thing is just chugging along. Just does so well. So we now almost made it to the most historic Bosnian village, and there you can already see it. And here we go. Those houses are supposed to be partially 500 years old. Wow, isn't this beautiful? Here with the little sheep. Here with this gorgeous view down that mountain. But short honest question, do you care? Or could I be onto something that we equate struggle to fun and fulfillment? Weirdly, whatever was seen as the biggest possible joy in motorcycle culture often related very much to struggle. From James Dean and the Troubled Youth over Marlon Brando in The Wild One, up to the image of the big hard biker that perceived for so long.
Which kind of leads us to today. We seem to be the biggest rebels without a cause, because thinking to yourself that you are a big bad guy on a Harley kind of creates nowadays this super big cognitive dissonance that another ideal of freedom and the open road needs to be created. And enter motorcycle adventure riding. That's also why a true adventure bike costs so much money. Of course, something like the BMW GS is an incredible technical marvel and probably one of the best motorcycles built in our time. But does that justify the price if you look at the production? No, it does not. Those motorcycles still sell because they are a lifestyle product. And at the end of the day, they are a lifestyle product to basically enjoy the struggle you create for yourself. Like, how much of this do you need to be part of a club? How much of this do you need to be an adventure rider? Is it enough to go on a big motorcycle trip and deal with being in a new location every day? Is it enough to then go off-roading and struggle over trails, struggle over big rocky terrain through mud and making very little kilometers every day? Do you also then need to camp on top? Or do you need to go into the ultimate adventure and go to a country which has a GDP low enough to be considered adventure worthy? But at the end of the day, all of this is still struggle. I now rode my motorbike here through the middle of nowhere, off-road over a lot of gravel and a lot of bumpy rocks. And my mouth has a bad taste in it, I'm slightly dehydrated and I will be tired later. Of course, this is still fun, but I have to be honest, probably the biggest highlight of my day was today sitting in peace next to a lake eating a banana split. And I think that has some beauty to it, which needs to be mentioned as well. Because if you watch these videos and want to do your own trip and want to enjoy motorcycle adventure, don't put pressure on yourself to experience the big adventure. Adventure can't be forced and it's not something that you can go out looking. I think the term motorcycle touring is like a lot better, as you're basically going out, riding your motorbike to enjoy motorcycle riding. And the adventure is what happens on the way. And I think this is something that's important to remember, because at the end of the day, we ended up confusing struggle with life-fulfilling joy, which cannot be maintained. Your motorcycle adventure is fun the first few weeks, but over time, the struggle will slowly grind you down. So it's important to occasionally also enjoy your banana split. Hi.
Ich hab vor ein paar Tagen noch dein YouTube-Video angeschaut.
Echt? Achso, ihr guckt meine YouTube-Videos? Das ist ja ein Zufall.
Warum? Ich wollte eigentlich schauen, wir haben
Das ist das erste Mal, dass ich Leute treffe, die meinen Kanal schauen.
Achso, ja.
I just had the weird realization that I'm apparently a YouTuber, as I just got recognized the first time here in this village. Quite funny.
Right at home, honey does it well. Keep me dancing till I'm dead. 'Cause I could run a mile like this, head over heels, feels like this. The sun has got me on my track, I ain't never looking back. I ain't looking
So we're back on complete asphalt road, and yeah, it's so wild that I just ran into some subscribers while filming my videos. It's so cool to see that like all the views on the videos are like real people who have like their opinion and like their perspective on the stuff that I do. That's really nice to see. Yeah, and with what I meant about motorcycle travel and how it basically idealizes struggle, I think it's very important to remember to have fun on your motorcycle trip and to have fun in a way that, like, where you define what you like about it. Like, if you want to do motorcycle travel, really see am I really into the off-road stuff? If not, it's completely fine to just like constantly go over like very curvy mountain roads and have an amazing time doing that. Also, another thing is like with that, not like comparing yourself to how you should basically do your motorcycle trip. For example, if you only want to drive half the day and chill the rest and like have a bit of a more relaxed time, that's, I think, that's like completely fine too. And I think it's important to not then like give yourself feelings of guilt about that, because at the end of the day, you're doing this stuff for fun, and like that is the most important metric basically. And you're doing that during your vacation, so you're also supposed to relax. And I think that's really important to get out there, because I feel like many people, when they go on a trip like that, when they then feel exhausted and want to just basically chill for a bit, for like a few hours, it can really quickly lead to feelings of guilt. And I think that's kind of where the whole comparison to what adventure is comes into play. And I sometimes struggle with that myself. That's why I wanted to open this internal dialogue for this episode today as well. And I basically wanted to get out there. If you then do a trip like this yourself and you want to take it a bit slower, and after a few days of doing it you feel a bit run down, and then you chill for a bit and then continue, that's like completely fine. And it's really important to recognize that. And one other thing, really often then motorcycle travel is depicted as this alternative lifestyle that basically is the route to happiness, of like a possibility how you can lead life. And it really often is then combined with the narrative of like, yes, everyone can do it, everyone can, I don't know, through social media or like remote work or whatever. First of all, I have to disagree with that statement, because I feel like that's a lot of survivor's biasy, first of all, for the people who manage to pull that off. And also, one thing, many people don't manage to pull it off. Also the people that you see on here. Full transparency, I'm not pulling it off. I'm paying the whole trips with the normal job that I have. And with that, it then being like, oh yeah, everyone can do it. No, it takes a lot of like right circumstances and a lot of work, and like really a lot of work. And on top of that, even if you sometimes do everything right in life, it still doesn't work. So I feel like the sentence of like, oh yeah, everyone can do it is maybe a bit misleading. And often like this whole way of making it work is seen as this alternative lifestyle, and this lifestyle of how you can like really enjoy life. First of all, everything is good in doses. Like you at home are probably doing completely fine, because at the end of the day, motorcycle travel is only enjoyable in smaller regards. If you're constantly on the road and that becomes your whole job and your whole thing, like what is up with your family? What is up with your friends? All that stuff is not really often considered in like this narrative about it itself being an alternative lifestyle. I don't know. I strongly have to disagree. I don't think motorcycle travel and the whole also like people living from that kind of stuff is not really an alternative lifestyle. Because to be honest, you kind of have to buy your way into it. And like either with like constantly financing your own trips, and then it's basically like you're doing it like everyone else. You go to work and you then put your money into a trip. It's kind of like buying a golf and saying this is now my alternative lifestyle. And like a true alternative lifestyle often doesn't get the praise and recognition that something like motorcycle travel would. So I have to conclude, motorcycle travel being this super fun, constantly fulfilling thing on how to live life, how to find the way, and basically the way is the goal type stuff, is kind of idealizing loads of self-made struggle. And at the same time, this picture of motorcycle travel is not what it is. It's really nice, it's really fun. That's also why I do this myself. But I think it's important to have reasonable expectations, and that's also why I'm doing this video. It's fine to sometimes feel down doing your trips. It's completely understandable, and because at the end of the day they also can be quite exhausting. And also, the idea of constantly living on the road is not as glamorous as you might think. Expect it when you do these kinds of things, and at the end of the day, if you approach it with realistic expectations, you will have a good time.